Modest was that for me? All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. First of all, I want to start with our fans. I need to say I'm sorry because the results obviously just haven't been there. It's not something I'm proud of, and it's something that I want to get right. Ultimately, it flows up to me, and I take responsibility. So I do feel that today is a step in the right direction, and it's an important step. When we started this process about a month ago, we said we wanted to be really deliberate. And we started with what I would say is a giant list of names that we had already accumulated, names of people that reached out to me, names that our search firm added. And we took that giant list of names and we made it into a long list of names. And we did our homework. We interviewed a number of people. And the thing that was really clear to me from this process was that there are a lot of good people that are capable of running an NBA franchise. We met with some incredible candidates. But at the end of the day, Bryson clearly just stood out. So why Bryson? I think it starts with he's not about shortcuts. And I know a lot of people have talked about Bryson's age. And so while he's young in age, he's not even 40 yet. He's old in experience. He's worked his way up from the ground level. He started at the New Orleans, was the Hornets at the time? Yeah, it was the Hornets at the time, now Pelicans. He started there, 15 years ago, and he started as an intern. And one of his jobs as an intern was at night. They didn't even have their own practice facility. They rented space. But it was his job to clean up the practice area every night. But of course, from there he grew. He ended up being involved in player development, video coordinating, scouting director. Then he became director of scouting. He became assistant GM. He became a general manager. No shortcuts. That experience, he understands what it's going to take to build a winning organization. During the time that I met Bryson over the last few weeks, some of the traits that I would say about Bryson are that he's thoughtful, he's disciplined, he's measured, he's intentional, and he communicates with clarity and conviction. And throughout this process, those qualities consistently stood out. But at the end of the day, it still comes down to talent evaluation. It doesn't matter what we do up there. If the players can't play, we're not going to be successful. And one thing that came out clearly is that he is an elite talent evaluator. And we did our homework. We talked to people that have worked with him. We talked to people in the NBA who just know of Bryson, and everything was absolutely clear. The guy gets it. He is an unbelievable judge of talent. I think he understands today's players. I think he's disciplined in his approach to talent evaluation. And I think that's incredibly important because we're in a moment in time now where we're headed into this offseason and we have 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a boatload of money to spend, and we have a great opportunity, but we got to get it right. I think when it comes to talent, though, I think Bryson understands it's not just whether a player is good or bad. I think he looks at it holistically. He understands that it's got to be the right fit. So how does that player fit into the system? What is he going to be like from a culture standpoint? What's he like in the locker room? Does he belong in this building? Those things matter. Then when it comes to leadership and communication, he just connects with people. Whether it's players, scouts, staff, players' families, which, by the way, is really important, Bryson gets it. And I think part of his success is that people trust him. They know that he's genuine, They know that he's prepared, and they know that he's a thoughtful person. And I think that's part of his leadership style. He's a listen first person, someone who wants to understand first what he's hearing, and then he wants to respond with clarity and purpose. And that's something that's really important for me from a culture standpoint. He's going to get the best out of the people because they know that he has their best interest at heart, and I think that's really important. But at the end of the day, we still got to build the right team. And when I was spending time with Bryson, the one thing was clear: he knows he's not a one-man operation, nor does he want it to be a one-man operation. He wants incredibly strong and smart people around him, whether it's scouting, strategy, health and wellness, player development. It's really important that he has the brightest and smartest people that are really capable, people that have a seat at the table, whose voices are heard, and that's going to be really important. And I think that self-awareness is critical in a leader. So I go back to like a month ago when I talked about what we wanted. I said I wanted someone who was process-oriented, conviction, someone who's a good communicator, someone who understands trends, talent, team building, a great evaluator, a collaborator, and someone who can lead a complex organization. Bryson checks all the boxes. So now, as we go forward, we need to build this thing into a sustainable contender. We need the Bulls to be relevant again. But we need to be realistic about where we are. But we're committed to doing this right. So whether it's the resources, whether it's the time and the effort, we're going to build a foundation. We're going to elevate this organization. We're going to make our fans proud again. Eventually, we want to compete at a high level year in, year out. And we do want to have a real chance at competing for championships. So that is going to be the Bulls standard. So with that, welcome to the Chicago Bulls family.
Thank you, Michael.
Bryson Graham.
I appreciate that. I think that's my cue to take it from here. First of all, thank you, Michael. This is unbelievable. I mean, I'm always going to be transparent and just be myself. That's all I know how to be. And this is unreal. When Michael called and told me I got the job, I'm not afraid to say this. I started crying. I broke down, man. I was like, because this organization means so much to me. And but first, let me give all glory and thanks to God, who's the head of my life, and he's just given me an incredible amount of favor and grace. And so I want to make sure I give him honor. I want to thank Jerry, I want to thank Michael and Nancy for believing in me and giving me this opportunity. I want to thank my family who are here. My dad couldn't make it. He's probably too nervous, so he stayed home. But my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, they just gave me such a great foundation, and they were always super, super supportive. That is so important if you have kids, to make them believe that they can do anything, and they did that for me. My wife, she is big time. This job is hard. You're gone a lot, and she has made a ton of sacrifices for me over the years. We've been married for 12 years. It's crazy. Yeah, we've been married for 12 years. We got 3 kids. My oldest is Kinsley. My middle is Harper. And then my youngest is Brave. His game's Grace, and we call him Braves. Y'all see him running around the gym. He's over there. So I love y'all, and I thank you all so much for just being my rock, you know, and supporting me. So yeah, after all the crying and everything was over, start thinking about, all right, how we want to, you know, build this. And we had such great conversations. Such great conversations. The interview process with Turnkey and the search firm, it was awesome. This wasn't something that was just done. Like, you know, there were multiple conversations, very thorough. We covered everything you can think of. And the bottom line is, yeah, we want to win championships, and we want to build a culture that can sustain a high level of competitiveness in this league that becomes harder and harder every year. It's so competitive. And we're going to do that with the right people. They're going to help create the right culture, and we're going to put the right team on the floor. And we're just going to compete every single night. When I look around, and like I said, it's amazing for me because I grew up, obviously, a Bulls fan. If you played basketball in the 90s, 85% of the kids, 90% of the kids, I don't care where you're from. I grew up in San Antonio. Yeah, I got some love for the Spurs. Grew up, I ain't gonna lie. But it did not supplant what the Bulls meant to me. And when I think about it, and I think about the greatness that's in this building and what's in these rafters and the championships that have been won here, it's amazing. It impacted my life more than I thought I knew, because I was always chasing what this organization represented. So you see MJ, and obviously I wanted to be him, right? Just like everybody wanted to be, I wanted that. But it carried over into other aspects of my life. So like my work ethic, my determination, my grit. I'm watching the Bulls and what they displayed, and I'm like, that's what I want. And so, tore my ACL multiple times when I was playing at Texas A&M, 𝗂𝗄𝗋. But that grit started when watching this. And I want to bring that back. And there's a kid out there that's just like me that can be inspired by this organization and keep climbing, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. We're going to pull our sleeves up. We're going to get to work, and we're going to get out the mud. And I'm not afraid of the work, and we're going to get started here pretty soon. So I'll open up with questions.
Once I get us started. Go ahead, John.
Bryson, I've talked to, my name's John Greenberg from The Athletic.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I've talked to some people about you, this week, and
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of great things. And one thing was that you're not afraid to disagree with people,
Yeah.
and that you were, when you're, running the draft room in New Orleans or whatever, that you would give your input, but do it in a nice way. How do you mix your personal style, I guess, with, getting the job done?
Yeah. So one of the things philosophically I believe in, there's no bad idea. And I want to hear from everyone that's in the room. And I've always been someone that, for better or for worse, is going to share my opinion. And I think that added to the process in New Orleans. I think it added to the process in Atlanta. And that's what I want here. I want an open, collaborative, and very communicative organization. Because who knows? It doesn't matter about the position. Everyone in this room could have something that could add to the ultimate decision of making the right decision. And so yeah, I want to take in what everyone says. I'm going to process that, and then I'm going to end up making that decision. But I want an open and collaborative group.
Bryson, Julia Coach, Chicago Tribune. You mentioned that getting the people right is going to be a huge part of this. These hires coming up are going to be kind of the crucial first test for you. So how do you want to approach filling out the rest of your staff and that coaching decision? What are kind of your priorities?
Yeah. So look, we've got a lot, obviously ahead of us. There are very, very good people and talented people in the building already. So as I hit the ground, we're not starting from obviously ground zero. I want to, obviously bolster, our staff. I want to add to, our strategy space. I want to add to our personnel space. I think that's necessary. But look, we've got a long way, obviously, to go, and there's a lot of, decisions that are going to be made. But I think right now where we're at, I think we're in a good place, and I'll get started on that here pretty soon.
Casey.
Bryson, Casey Johnson with the Chicago Sports Network. Michael touched on your eye for talent evaluation. You hear that basically in every conversation around the league about you. How do you think you develop that skill? And how do you continue honing that skill as the game evolves?
Yeah, I think this experience, from playing and then working in the video room, that really, really was helpful, like extremely helpful. So my second year in the league, 𝗻ance Williams, who's someone who I, really look up to, and he was a mentor of mine early on. I was his video coordinator, and I also worked in player development on the court. And so watching a ton of film and understanding how the NBA game is played, that really, really helped me develop it. And then also, I'm not going to lie to you, so much of it is also like your intuition, like so much of like the experience of watching games, watching players, remembering certain things about certain players, and you've been around long enough, you can draw inference from, one player to the next. So you could say, oh man, he's just like X player that didn't make it, or he's just like this player that did make it. And so I think the combination of just being around it for a long time, watching a lot of film, and also working on the floor, it really helped me.
Hi, Bryson. �ฬ𝗬 with CHGO. I'm curious about your just evaluation of the roster as it stands right now. I know there's a lot that's going to change with the draft and lottery and cap space and all of that, but just kind of curious of your opinion of the roster and maybe the vision that you have for whatever it is that you're trying to build as far as a longer term, more methodical approach, or maybe something that you feel like you can get this flipped more quickly. Like, what's kind of your opinion and vision for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to take time. It's going to take time. I think the roster, we're in a developmental stage right now. I think everyone in here knows that we're not where we want to be. But we've got 4 picks in this year's draft. We own all of our picks going forward. We've got a ton of second-round picks. And we got a ton of flexibility this summer. And so we just want to be smart, and we want to be also creative and opportunistic, right? But we're going to obviously take our time. This is not going to be something that's going to be rushed. But this is the beginning stages. All right. We've got some pretty good young players, but we know that this draft is going to be the first real layer to this foundation going forward.
Jamal Collier from ESPN. Congrats to you, man.
Thank you.
My question is for Michael. However, you talked about sort of building a sustainable winner, and that just what has to be different on your end as far as commitment to resources that you're giving your front office. As far as luxury tax, how willing are you to pay that? Building out a front office, just kind of from your perspective, do you feel like there has to be a shift or maybe more of a financial commitment to empower your executive?
I look back at the history of the Chicago Bulls, and I'm looking around this practice facility. This is our second practice facility. The first practice facility was the first privately owned practice facility in the NBA. So we've always been about spending the resources. For some reason, there's been a narrative that wasn't the case. Each administration has been given the responsibility to spend them, tell us where you want to spend the money. So I don't mean to push this on you, but it's gonna be Bryson. Bryson's gonna tell us, here's what I need. We need to add in this area. Or hey, we're good here, but maybe we need to add someone below that. As far as the luxury tax, obviously there's specific penalties for being in the luxury tax and the second apron and all that, and now you got to manage that. No team wants to be in there. But if we're competing for championships, we expect that we'll probably be in the luxury tax, and totally okay with that. I don't want to be in the luxury tax for a team that's not in the playoffs, but if he did, then he wouldn't be the right guy.
Sam Smith with the Bulls.com. I wanted to, Michael has mentioned many times, several times, about the autonomy that you'll have. And I wanted to follow up on the roster point that was brought up. These are none of your players. You're inheriting everything.
Sure.
So if you have total autonomy, presumably you can do whatever you want. Is there anyone, in your view, on this roster that's untouchable?
That's funny you asked that. Look, I really don't want to, in respect to the guys, right, answer something like that. I mean, that's tough, right? I mean, there's only a few probably players in the NBA, let's be honest, that are untouchable, and even them, you can get them, right? So that's just the nature of the beast. You're going to listen on every player, and that has nothing to. I'm not taking anything away, or I'm not trying to strike fear in the guys that are on our roster, but that's just the nature of this business. And so, no, I'm not going to sit here and say that no one on this roster is untouchable, But that doesn't mean that we're trading guys. I think we're going to come in, we're going to look at this holistically, and then we're going to proceed.
I have one more. One of the bigger questions, you have plenty, but is the cap room this summer. So supposedly Bulls have the most, or as much as anybody. And what's your philosophy as far as, you touched on it a little bit, but use the cap room to add a player so that the team could, have a veteran, be better, or use the cap room for purposes to add things to help you in the future? What's your philosophy on using the salary cap space?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. It all depends. It depends on what's best for us in that moment. It might be signing a player. It might be throwing an offer sheet on a free agent. It might be, taking in and being an off ramp for a team and taking in picks. You have to be open to every avenue, because that's where we're at right now. We're not in a place that we're going to be adding players and competing for a championship in the 26-27 season. This is a time for us to grow and build and layer it the right way, and we'll make the right decision. I'm confident in that.
Gavin.
Hi, Bryson. Gavin Dorsey, Roundtable Sports. Welcome
doing?
to Chicago.
Appreciate it.
The previous regime was often criticized for failing to commit to a rebuild, spending a lot of years in the play-in. How do you define what a real rebuild looks like, and how will fans know that this time is different?
Well, a real rebuild, you can look at the record, right? Just being honest, and also, right, like most rebuild, situations is when you don't have star caliber, players, right? So right now, not to say that we don't have anyone on this roster that can get there, but until we, continue to obviously draft well, add to this mix, and add more just overall talent and team identity. Yeah, we are in the rebuilding phase, and we're extremely young too. So that's how I'll define, what the rebuilding phase, what a rebuilding team looks like. And I think that's where we are right now. I'm not going to be up here and mince words and say like we're further along, if we just add a couple of pieces, because that's not the case. And then I hope that, as fans, we kind of understand where we're at. And we're going to get there, but like I said, I want to keep on saying this, is that it's going to take time.
Drew Stevens, the Bigs. Bryson,
Oh, there you are.
you obviously had to sell yourself throughout this entire process, but interviews go both ways. What did you need to hear from Michael and company to make you feel like this was the right partnership for you? Really, look, there are 30 of these opportunities, and this is the Chicago Bulls.
Michael really didn't have to sell me on much of anything. I'm just being honest with you. This is, a lot of people are from here. They've been here for a very long time. Me walking into this gym, like I feel the weight, and I want that pressure. It motivates me. It gets me going. There was nothing that Michael needed or Jerry needed to sell to me for this job. I'm humble enough to know that I was chosen. I didn't choose them, So, to answer your question, this is an unbelievable opportunity that I'm ready to take full advantage of.
And there were no questions that you had from Michael that you needed to hear answers to?
Yeah, of course. I'm asking questions, but what am I going to? Am I trying to be combative? You know what I mean? Like,
I think what he's saying is, did you talk to me about resources and all that?
Absolutely.
That all came out naturally in our conversation. Sure. It was never an issue.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that when we interviewed other people, they asked some questions like that. But I think it was clear in this process that Bryson was going to have the resources and the runway to make this right.
Yeah, and I'm trying to answer your question. I'm sorry if that's more what you were looking for. That we had obviously questions and answers about the resources and things like that, and we're fully aligned.
Matt Zahn, CBS Chicago over here. I was kind of going to ask what Drew was asking, but along those lines of, asking questions of the organization, Michael opened by saying the results haven't been there. What gives you the confidence that you can do what others haven't been able to do here?
That's a good question. I mean, it's not going to be just me. It's going to be the people that I put around me and work with me. We're going to do this together. And that's from the performance room. That's from the communications department to the coaching staff, cap strategy, evaluation, every aspect of this. I don't ever want to put this on, I have the answer, because I don't. If I'm the smartest person in the room, we're going to fail. And so I'm going to make sure that we add the right group of people, and we're going to pull in the right direction, and we're going to win games. So it's not about me. It's about the Chicago Bulls as a whole.
Mike.
Over here, Mike McGraw, Daily Herald. Bryson, there's a lot of, the teams you worked for had a lot of different job titles, a lot of different people on the directory. What would you say were your main duties with the Hawks and the Pelicans in the later years of the Pelicans, and any areas of expertise, any authority that you had?
Yeah, overseeing personnel. When David Griffin came to New Orleans, I oversaw the draft process, and that was like my real first responsibility, like really strong responsibility of taking ownership of something of that magnitude, of who are we going to draft. And obviously I touched every other aspect of it, performance, player development, and things of that nature. I was involved in everything, but personnel was where I lived.
Andy? Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy Sell. Bryson, where do things stand in the coaching search? How far along are you in that process? And what are some of the traits you're looking for in a candidate?
Yeah. So, let's be honest, with me just obviously getting to Chicago, have not started a search, have not put a list together of candidates or anything of that nature. Probably don't plan on doing that for, another week or so. But in terms of, what I would say we're looking for someone that's obviously smart. We're looking for someone that can lead and someone of really, really high character. And we also want somebody that's, when I say smart, they're good on both sides of the ball. I think a lot of times now you have coaches that lean towards offense and they lean towards defense, and that's fine. But we're going to try to find a coach that can coach both sides of the ball and care about both sides of the ball, and then develop these guys as they're obviously young in their careers. So to answer your question, those are some of the things we'll be looking for.
We're going to take a few more. Paul, go ahead.
Hi, Paul Sullivan, Chicago Tribune. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And this could be for Michael, too. The great Bulls teams have always stressed defense, and they've kind of gotten away from that the last couple of years with some higher scoring teams. Would that be something you would emphasize when you build this roster, or is it matter to you?
Absolutely. And me and Michael, talked about, the importance of defense and establishing an identity on that side of the floor, especially when you're a younger team and you have younger players. When you compete on the defensive end, your team typically plays harder, and you're starting to see it a lot in the playoffs. Teams that are having success are very, very good on that side of the ball. So we want, obviously, two-way players. I'm not going to take away from the offensive side, but I refer to it as guys that have slap, size, length, athleticism, and physicality, and that physicality is going to be felt on the defensive side of the ball.
David Hoff from The Score and CHSN. Congratulations, Bryson.
Thank you.
I was told this week in talking to somebody from New Orleans that at one point in time you had in your phone a photo of you on your first day as an intern unloading boxes.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you have that photo still in your phone, and if you do, what that represents to you.
Yeah, I do. It represents a lot because, you're starting from the bottom. I mean, obviously I was the lowest on the totem pole, coming in, which is expected, which I think a lot of people think that, when you get into the NBA, you're just like given everything, and that's not the case. You know, you really have to put the time in, and so that photo to me just means like that's who I am. You know, I don't mind doing the little things that are necessary. You know, whatever it looks like. You know, obviously this position it's a lot, right? But it's just a title. You know, like the work is what matters. And I got to be ready to pull up my sleeves because we're at the ground floor. And that picture represents that to me. Like, this is where you started, and this is back where you're at again. A different title, but this is where you're at.
Deon Miller from ABC7, welcome. We're excited that you're here. In light of that, this whole moment has to feel incredibly surreal. So how excited and prepared, I guess, do you feel for a challenge like this? How did you know you were ready to take on something like this?
Yeah, I don't think I believe I'm ready, but you know, you probably never know you're really ready. It sounds like having a kid, right? It's like, I think I'm ready to have children. And it's like, until you get it, you're like, oh my God, you know? I feel the same way. And it's because of my experiences that Michael alluded to. I started out, you know, as an intern and went from an intern to the video, to being the head video coordinator and player development coach, the scouting coordinator, the director of college scouting, to assistant GM, to general manager. So you're checking all these boxes and you're doing so much within the organization that it gives you the confidence that, okay, I've checked the boxes. I didn't skip any steps. I can step into this role. You know, and there's like a certain confidence that just kind of comes with it. It's almost like if 𝗏_ici's, like, I'm sure the first 30-point game he had, he starts saying to himself, like, yo, I can go get 30 now. Like, I'm nice. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that, you know, and it's the same thing for me.
Last one. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, last one. Still trying to nail you down on some of these things.
Okay.
But we don't know exactly, you know, you were involved with the draft, but we didn't know exactly if it was your guys or somebody else. And, but that said, it looked like the profile of the players that you were picking, Nickeil Alexander, Dyson Daniels, sort of long, athletic, defensive-oriented wing players, switchable kind of thing. Is that sort of your philosophy that you want to bring here? Those kind of players is 6'8" across the board, two-way defensive, offensive.
Yeah,
that you have to be those kind of players.
You don't have to be those kinds of players, but yes, we would love to have size, length, athleticism, and physicality all across the board. And the more versatile you can be, the better you are. If whoever's guarding at the point of attack can also guard in the wing and then switch onto a big, you got something serious. Like, you're really, really dangerous now. And I think the really good teams, OKC, Boston, they have that. You know, like, who's Boston's point guard? You know, I see like JT bring it up. I see JB bring it up. I see Derek White bring it up. It's like they have so much versatility. They got so much size. They got so much physicality. And that's where this league is going, and that's what the really good teams are doing. And that's kind of how we're going to look at our evaluation, and that's going to be our approach. You know, we want to be tough, and we want to be long and athletic at every position.
Don't be mad at me, but one little one.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
We're not surprised.
Yeah.
But go back to just the coach thing. Would you like to have a coach who's won a championship, experienced, veteran kind of guy? A lot of the guys who are successful now are Oklahoma City, San Antonio, first-time guys, young, kind of grow with the team.
Sure.
You know, how do you see that kind of thing?
Yeah. No, I think me and Michael, and it's going to be done collaboratively. We want the right guy, and if I say
you're picking him.
Oh yeah, I'm picking him. Yeah.
I picked you. You get to pick the coach.
Absolutely, but it's a good question, and I don't. There's really no real like prerequisite in terms of, hey, you held a position or you won a championship. If that were it, I wouldn't be in this seat, you know, and I think about that because you just want the most talented person, you believe in. You think about the draft, right? I'm not saying that the kid from BYU is the first pick in the draft, but he didn't win a championship this year. Doesn't mean that he's not talented enough to be a franchise player going forward or whatever the case may be. And I feel the same way about staff and at every point in the position. Let's find the most competent, most talented people. And that could be a coach that you may not even heard of. And I might get killed for it. But if I believe in him, I'm going to hire him.
One more, Sam? You good?
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm going to have you guys come stand up in front for a picture, please.
Okay.